ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानं पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्रिषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So we were discussing the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and I think we completed that. Yeah. So 14th chapter discusses about the three modes of material nature. So we are in the last section of Bhagavad Gita. Total 18 chapters are there. In the first 6 chapters, we have seen questions, different questions on Arjuna. Arjuna is giving arguments to not fight, and to refute those arguments, Krishna gave the basic knowledge of spirituality, like the concept of body and soul, the concept of Sakam Karma Yoga, Niskam Karma Yoga, Buddhi Yoga. And in the initial few chapters, like chapter 2 and 3, Karma Yoga is discussed, Buddhi Yoga, and the qualities of a Sthita Pragya who has mastered this Karma Yoga. And then we have seen Jnana Yoga also in the 4th chapter. In the 5th chapter, we have seen Karma Sannyasa Yoga. In the 6th chapter, we have seen Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. So different yogic methods are elaborated by Krishna in the first 6 chapters. Okay. So Krishna is giving different ways that Arjuna, there are different yogic paths to reach me ultimately, and you can choose any of them. But at the end of 6th chapter, Arjuna mentioned that this Ashtanga Yoga is very, very difficult for Arjuna to perform. So therefore, Arjuna told, I cannot perform this Ashtanga Yoga, and this is too difficult for me. So at the end of 6th chapter, Krishna told, then no problem, you can practice Bhakti Yoga, because Bhakti Yoga is better than Ashtanga Yoga. The destination of Bhakti Yoga is Swayam Bhagavan. There are 3 features of the Supreme Lord. Vadanti tattavidas tattam yajnanam admayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. So by Jnana Yoga, you attain to the Brahman or the effulgence of Krishna. By Ashtanga Yoga, one attains the Paramatma feature. And by Bhakti Yoga, one attains the Supreme Lord as it is in Satchidananda form. So the highest feature of the Supreme Lord is the Bhagavan feature. And that can only be unlocked by Bhakti Yoga. It's not possible by Ashtanga Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga is difficult also, and the destination is lower than that of Bhakti Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is obviously a better choice. So therefore Krishna says at the end of 6th chapter, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmanah Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktatamo mata. So Bhakti Yogi is most intimately connected with me. So therefore I consider Bhakti Yogi is the topmost yogi. So this is how Krishna gave a synopsis of all different yogic paths. and slightly gave a recommendation that I recommend Bhakti Yoga. But if you want to choose anything, you are free to choose. I can only give you the suggestion. Then we have seen in chapters 7 to 12, this Bhakti Yoga is elaborated. Krishna has explained different energies of Krishna and the pure devotional service, demigod worship, impure devotional service, their difference, and how it is important to remember Krishna at the time of death. So these all topics are discussed. In the 10th and 11th chapter, Krishna has discussed the vibhutis of Krishna, opulences of Krishna, by knowing which we will be devotionally inclined towards Krishna. In the 12th chapter is named as Bhakti Yoga. In that chapter begins with Arjuna's question that which one is better, Jnana Yoga or Bhakti Yoga? And Krishna gives a clear-cut answer. Klesha adhikataras tesham abhyakta ashakta chetasham abhyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadviravavyate. If you choose this Jnana Yoga, then there will be lot of difficulty, lot of trouble in the path of your progress in spirituality. Klesho adhikataras tesham abhyakta ashakta chetasam abhyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadviravavyate. And even if you attain the Brahma Jyoti by performing the Jnana Yoga, there is a possibility of coming back. You cannot stay there for a long time. And this is elaborated again in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam says, Aruhya krichena param padam tata patanti adho anadrita yushmadangraya. A Jnana Yogi reaches the Brahma Jyoti, and then from the Brahma Jyoti, he has to come back again because he does not have devotion towards the lotus feet of Krishna. So a Jnana Yogi goes to Brahma Jyoti after a lot of sacrifice and austerity by taking up a troublesome path. Finally, Jnana Yogi attains Brahma Jyoti, but after some times again comes back to the material world and performs Bhakti Yoga, perfects himself, and then goes back to Krishna's abode. So why to take this detour and waste so many lifetimes? Just perform Bhakti Yoga. So throughout Bhagavad Gita, if you see till this chapter 12, we can see the glories of Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga. We have also seen Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. These are the four general paths mentioned. Bhakti, Karma, Jnana, Ashtanga. In the sixth chapter, if you read, it will be clear to you that Ashtanga Yoga is impossible for us to perform. Even Arjuna cannot do, and Arjuna is much more qualified than us. Then there is no question of performing Ashtanga Yoga. In the 12th chapter, Krishna very emphatically says that if you follow Jnana Yoga, there will be too much trouble. And the destination you attain is also temporary. You have to come back again and then again practice Bhakti Yoga. Then why to waste our time in Jnana Yoga? So two options are eliminated. If you are a careful reader and you are understanding all the concepts of Bhagavad Gita, Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana Yoga is eliminated. Two options are remaining, Bhakti and Karma. So these two are acceptable. Bhakti is the topmost and Karma is acceptable. Why? Karma Yoga is a precursor of Bhakti Yoga. Generally, Bhakti Yoga means you have to be very, very selfless. Whatever you are doing is only for Krishna. You do not have any desire for sense gratification. So that is the perfected stage. In the perfected stage, we can perform Bhakti Yoga. Therefore, Krishna says, Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na sochati na kangshati shama sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhakti lavate param. Actual Bhakti Yoga starts from the point when you cross beyond the three modes of material nature and you become liberated, free from all contaminations. Then Bhakti Yoga begins. Before that, there is a slight mixture of karma. So, what is the difference between Bhakti and karma? We have given this example multiple times. Again, I am repeating. Suppose you want to eat something delicious and you make that preparation and then you cannot eat directly. Why? Because in Bhagavad Gita, there is a verse, Yagya Sista Shino Santa Muchante Sarvakil Vishai Bhunchate Te Tvagam Papa Ye Pachanti Atma Karanat. So Bhagavad Gita is the law book of the Supreme Lord. And that law book says that if you cook for yourself and you eat something without offering to the Supreme Lord, then you are eating sin. And due to these sinful reactions, we have to suffer. So I desire to eat something delicious. I cook that. Then I cannot take that directly. I have to offer it to Krishna. But what is the intention? Because I do not want to suffer the karmic reactions. Therefore, I am offering to Krishna. This is Karma Yoga. But Bhakti Yoga means that I do not have any special desire to eat something. Okay, I can manage with very simple foodstuffs also. But I am always meditating. How can I please Krishna? What Krishna likes? I go through the scriptures and I'm trying to find out what is the favorite dish of Krishna. And then I make that. What is the favorite dish of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? I am reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. I see what Advaita Acharya is feeding to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And similar preparations I am making. Maybe those items are not very favorite to me, but still I am making for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is Bhakti Yoga, where my desire is not important. I am doing everything for Krishna. But this is a very exalted stage. So as a precursor, Karma Yoga is accepted. Jnana and Ashtanga Yoga is not practical and Jnana Yoga is very difficult. Okay, so therefore, most of us perform Karma Yoga only, Karma Mishra Bhakti. And we aspire that someday we will become pure devotees by the mercy of Krishna and Vaishnavas, and we can also perform Bhakti Yoga. So this is how the first 6 chapters gives you different yogic paths. 7 to 12 gives you elaborate description on Bhakti Yoga. And the last 6 chapters, 13 to 18, discusses Jnana Yoga, or different items of knowledge which will help you to cultivate your devotional service. So in Bhagavad Gita is designed in a way that Bhakti is in the middle and Karma and Jnana are supporting. So in the 13th chapter, we have discussed about nature, enjoyer, and consciousness. Prakriti, Purusha, Vivek, Yoga. So the key statement of chapter 13 is there are 3 different things: soul, Jiva, this material nature, and Krishna, the controller. And the key statement is Jiva or the spirit soul can only desire. It cannot do anything in this world. Material nature will execute and the Supreme Lord sanctions. So Jiva desires, Paramatma sanctions, and material nature executes. That's the key statement of chapter 13. In chapter 14, we are discussing about the Prakriti. This Prakriti or material nature is divided in 3 modes: Sattva, Raja, and Tama. And we have learned what are the characteristics of Sattva, the characteristics of Raja, and characteristics of Tama. And what are the effects of these 3 modes and what are the results? We have discussed that. So in the Sattva Guna, the mode of goodness, the characteristics is knowledge and happiness. One who is in the mode affected by mode of goodness will be knowledgeable and happy. In the mode of passion, there is attraction to opposite gender. There is too much fruitive activity. A person in Rajoguna will be very active, hyperactive, and he will think less and do more work. Working without proper thinking. This is one of the nature. And there is a lot of lusty desire, attraction to opposite sex. These are the nature of Rajoguna or mode of passion. In the mode of ignorance, the characteristics are Nidra, Pramad, and Alasya. Sleeping, dullness, laziness, these are the qualities of Tamoguna. No activity, no thinking, no action. There is no thinking, there is no action in mode of ignorance. In mode of passion, there is less thinking, more action. In mode of goodness, the thinking is more, and according to that thinking, one executes. So this is how we can see the 3 modes and the destination. One who leaves body in mode of goodness goes to the higher planets. Maybe he will become a demigod. In the mode of passion, if one leaves body, will come back to the earthly planets. In the mode of ignorance, if one leaves body, he can become animals in the next life, animals or insects, lower birth he will get, or he can glide down to the lower planetary systems. And finally, Krishna gives us the method of transcending the 3 modes. Because these 3 modes are conditioned, we can see here how the material nature is controlling us by these 3 modes. To how to transcend these 3 modes, Krishna gives this formula. Mam chayo abhyavicharena bhakti yogena shevate shagunan samatitaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who worships me by abhyavichareni bhakti yoga. So by unflinching devotion, if we serve Krishna, by power of that devotion, we can become free from these 3 modes of material nature. And these three modes of material nature are basically the contaminations on soul. The soul is pure, but we cannot experience the purity of soul. In the pure state, the soul will display qualities like Sat, Chit, and Ananda. Sat means eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, and Ananda means full of bliss. But in this material world, we cannot find such people. People are very depressed and dull, and they are running after temporary materialistic pleasures. From within, they are not happy. But a spiritual person, a self realized soul, is internally happy. He does not need anything external to become happy. So, the innate qualities of the soul is not expressed in this world because of this conditioning by the three modes. Once we become free from the three modes, the conditioning of the three modes, the natural qualities of the soul become manifest. And then those qualities are basically the qualities of Sthita Pragya or qualities of a self-realized soul. So now we will discuss about this chapter 15, Yoga of the Supreme Person or Purushottam Yoga. In the chapter 14, we discussed about Prakriti. Now we are discussing about the Param Purusha, Krishna. Let's begin chapter 15. So in chapter 15, first 6 verses describe from material to spiritual world, what are the differences, and how can we go to the spiritual world from material world by detachment and surrender. So here is a link from this chapter 14. So at the end of chapter 14, Krishna discusses that by Abhyavicharini Bhakti Yoga, you will you will transcend the three modes, and then you can come back to me. So Krishna is giving us the way to come back to his abode. And this 15th chapter also starts from that point. What are the differences between material and spiritual world, and how can we go from the material to spiritual world? What are the characteristics of the spiritual world? Those things are mentioned. How to go to spiritual world, description of the spiritual world. Then 7 to 11, transmigration of the jivas. So see, after death, two things can happen. If you are a pure devotee, you will go back to Krishna's abode. If you are not a pure devotee, then based on your karma, you will take another birth. So that is called transmigration. So liberation is a vertical process. Transmigration means horizontal process. You are accepting another material body. So if this does not happen. If you are not going from material to spiritual world, then what will happen? The horizontal movement or transmigration will happen. And the transmigration is also explained. Then the next section explains appreciating Krishna's position as our maintainer. So why this happens, transmigration? Because people do not recognize Krishna's position and they do not get connected to Krishna. So how to stop this transmigration? By appreciating Krishna's position as our maintainer. If we understand that Krishna is Purushottama, he is the ultimate maintainer, and Krishna is my best friend, then going back to Krishna will be very easy. Then comes the summary of the Veda and Vedanta. And knowing Krishna is the summary of Veda and Vedanta. And knowing Krishna means knowing everything. So this is how this chapter is describing that how what is the position of Krishna, and by knowing that position, how we can go back to Krishna. And that is the essence of all scriptures. So now let's begin. श्रीभगवानुवाच ऊर्ध्वमूलमधः शाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहुरव्ययम् छन्दंसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्त्वं वेद स वेदवित्. So the Supreme Person of Godhead is saying, Krishna is telling Arjuna, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upwards and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. So this is a very important concept. The first verse is a very crucial concept. So we have to understand this very well. So the material world is compared to a inverted banyan tree in the 15.1. Why the material world is considered to be an inverted banyan tree? So we have to unlock that. So first of all, there are many examples by which we can understand. So the first example which I will give, suppose you are standing by a lake and there is a mango tree beside the lake. Now in the mango tree, there is a mango fruit. Okay. But the reflection of that tree, you can see in the water of the lake. And in that water, you can also see the reflection of the mango. Okay. So in this situation, if you just look at the water, you will see the mango there. And if you dive into the water and you try to get that mango, you will not be able to get that. There will be only water. You cannot catch the mango by diving in the water. Why? Because the actual mango is there in the tree. And what I am searching in the lake is the reflection of the mango, or it is the abhash of the mango. It's not the actual mango. So that's the concept given here, that the spiritual world is full of bliss. In the spiritual world, everyone is very happy. Chintamani prakarashadmashu kalpa briksha laksha vriteshu suravi ravipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra satasam brahmasebhyamanam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Govindamadi purusham is there in the spiritual world, and everyone is in harmony, everyone is serving Krishna. And there is a lot of description about this abode of Krishna in the scriptures. Everyone is in harmony, there is no envy, and everyone is united in purpose. Everyone's objective is to serve the Supreme Lord, and it's a place where everything is perfect and it is not restricted by any conservation laws like the material world. In material world, we have different conservation laws like conservation of mass, conservation of energy, conservation of mass energy, etc. But in the spiritual world, there is no conservation laws. Everything is infinite. Like the Suravi cows, they're able to generate ocean of milk from them. There is no limit in spiritual world. In material world, there is a limit. Why? This is very obvious. If you are a normal citizen, then you have unlimited freedom. You can do anything you want. But once you go to the jail, every facility will be restricted. You will not get access to unlimited freedom. Just like a normal citizen is able to enjoy freedom, and a citizen in the prison will be restricted. Similarly, in this material world, we are restricted by many things. There is a very famous phenomena in science. We know there is no free lunch, we say. Nothing is free. You cannot generate free energy out of nowhere. Some form of energy is converted to other form. So you cannot generate energy from nothing. But in spiritual world, you can do that. Spiritual world is not restricted by anything. So the point is, spiritual world is full of bliss. And in this material world, there is only abhash or semblance of bliss, but there is no actual bliss. Just like that mango, reflection of the mango on the lake water. That is not actual mango. If you dive into the water, you will not get the mango. The actual mango is in the tree. So due to this nature, first of all, the material world is considered to be inverted banyan tree. And banyan tree, why? There are too many branches and twigs. So material world is very vast. There are millions of universe, not millions, trillions actually, infinite universes coming out of the body of Mahavishnu. So material world is vast, many jivas and their karma, their swabhava, kala, everything is entangled like a big banyan tree. So therefore, this material world is considered to be a banyan tree. And why inverted? Because the reflection in the lake water will be inverted. Any tree which is standing beside the lake, the reflection will be inverted. And in that inverted banyan tree, you can see there may be some fruits, but actually those are not actual fruits. They are only avhas. So this is the first understanding of why this material world is considered to be a inverted banyan tree. Okay. So another explanation is everything in this material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. Just like you can see the relationship between the inhabitants of the spiritual world, or relationship between Krishna and a jiva, is very pure. Everyone is loving. There is a very beautiful verse in Srimad Bhagavatam. It is described about Vaikuntha, about the Vaikuntha birds. The birds in Vaikuntha, how they are respecting each other. Paravatanya vritasarasya chakravaka Datyuham shashukati tevarhinam jam Kolahalo viramate chiramatramucher vringadipe harikathami vagayamane. So the birds in Vaikuntha, there are so many qualified birds like Paravata, Anyavrata, um, Chakravaka, Datyuha, Hamsha, Shuka, Tittiri. These are qualified words and they can sing very well. These words of Vaikuntha, they sing million times more beautifully than any of the top singers in this material world. The birds in Vaikuntha, what to speak of the inhabitants of Vaikuntha, and what to speak of Lord Vishnu himself. A bird in Vaikuntha is millions and trillion times more potent than the best singer in this material world. So such are the qualifications of those birds in Vaikuntha. So all these birds, the names are given: Paravrata, Anyavrita, Sarasa, Chakravaka, Datyuha, Hamsa, Shukati, Tirivarhinamja. What they do? Kolahalo viramate. They stopped their kolahal. They stopped chirping. Why? Kolahalo viramate chiramatra mucher vringadipe harikatham iva gayamane. When a bumblebee starts doing something like harikatha, zzz, the bumblebee is not able to sing. It can only vibrate or do some zzz vibration. But the bumblebee with that vibration also is trying to glorify the Supreme Lord. Everyone in Vaikuntha is trying to glorify the Supreme Lord. People in this world want to become boss, that people should glorify me. The Vaikuntha consciousness is I am servant and I should serve others and I should serve Lord Vishnu. So everyone is trying to serve Lord Vishnu and each one is helping others in their service of Lord Vishnu. So when this bumblebee is trying to glorify the Supreme Lord by doing some vibration, all these qualified birds, they tell each other that is stop doing kolahal. Our little bumblebee is trying to glorify the Supreme Lord. Let us hear with all attention what this bumblebee is trying to say. So this is called Vaikuntha consciousness. Everyone is in proper harmony. There is no envy. In this material world, if we have some tinge of good quality, we want to show it off to the whole world. See how much good quality is there in me. But in Vaikuntha consciousness, there is no show off. So therefore, all these qualities are there. Just like Krishna's relationship with the gopis, it is very, very pure. But that relationship, when it comes to the material world, it becomes perverted reflection. The relationship between a boyfriend and a girlfriend, it's based on lust and exploitation and full of selfish desires that I and attribute based. I like these attributes in that girl. The girl is also thinking, I like these attributes of the boy. And when the attributes are no more, the qualities, desired qualities vanish, there is breakup, divorce, and I want to choose another person like that. So these are not pure love. In spiritual world, there is no expectation. There is no selfish desire. That love is pure, but the perverted reflection of that is there in material world. So everything in this material world is a perverted reflection. Therefore, inverted reflection. Therefore, we can see that why this material world is called a inverted banyan tree. Okay. And there are other aspects as well, like if you see the Parakya Prem in Vaikuntha or in Golok Vrindavan, there is in the Madhurya Rasa, actually there are 5 important rasas by which the devotees serve Krishna: Shanta, Dasya, Shakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. Shanta means the rasa of neutrality. Dasya means servitorship. Then Shakya means friendship. Then Vatsalya means parenthood, like Mother Yashoda and Krishna. Damodar Leela is Vatsalya Leela. And then Madhurya, like the gopis and Srimati Radharani is having conjugal relationship with Krishna. So the Madhurya is divided into 2 parts, Swakya and Parakya. Krishna's relationship with Rukmini was within a marriage, and Rukmini was serving Krishna in Madhurya Rasa. So that is called Swakya. But Srimati Radharani and Krishna relationship is Parakya, because Srimati Radharani was married separately. But still, Srimati Radharani is attracted to Krishna out of pure love. So this is not a sinful activity, because the loyalty to husband is on the moral platform. Everyone should have, and that defines the chastity of women. One should be loyal to her husband. But we have to understand that in every lifetime, we get different husband. We get different set of parents. So loyalty towards the different relatives, they are on one platform, and our relationship with Krishna is on the another platform. So everyone's dharma, savai pumsam paro dharma jato bhakti radhokshaje, ahaituki apratihata yajatmashu prasidati. One's primary relationship with Krishna. So a wife should be chaste to husband, that is material duty. But more important than that duty is her relationship with Krishna. First of all, she should be very chaste to Krishna and loyal to Krishna. Krishna is the original master. Now, in this world, this is very good because um, if there is some wife, the husband is there, wife is loyal to husband, and the wife is also a devotee and loyal to Krishna. There is no conflict. But for the gopis, there was a conflict. Gopis are loyal to their husband, but gopis should also be loyal to Krishna. And at that time, Krishna was performing the human like pastime. So Krishna was there in the earthly planet. So it seems like it's a parakiya rasa. But actually, it's not. It's not an illicit connection. Everyone's primary duty is to establish their connection with Krishna. And the gopis are doing that. They are giving priority to their husband. And they are giving more priority to Krishna. So actually, they are doing what is justified. But because Krishna was performing human like pastimes, it appeared as if the gopis were having some illicit connection with Krishna. But that's not the fact. So, the Srimati Radharani's relationship with Krishna is called Parakya. But that is not out of any lusty desire. In this world, if someone is having an illicit connection other than the partner, that is due to the lusty desire, and that is very, very demoniac mentality. But in the spiritual world, that parakya prem is the highest form of prem. So you see, the highest point in the spiritual rasa, parakya prem, is considered to be the lowest point in the material rasa. So it also justifies how this material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. The highest part of the tree will be the lowest part in the reflection, isn't it? So this is how we can see calling this material world inverted reflection or inverted banyan tree is justified. Okay, so you can also go through the purport. We don't have time, so we are skipping. But this is the explanation. And then Krishna explains further. अधश्चोर्धं प्रशिष्टस्तस्य शाखं गुणा प्रविद्धा वृषया प्रवालम् अधश्च मूल्यान् अनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके. The branches of the tree, downward and upward, nourished by three modes of material nature. The three modes of material nature is nourishing this tree, banyan tree of material world. That means if you are under the strong influence of the three modes, then you are tightly bound with this material world. The three modes, they nourish the banyan tree of this material world. You can think that for each one of us, this banyan tree is actually a metaphor. So for each, the actual material world is not like a banyan tree. If you consider this earth and the Vedic cosmology, it's not like an inverted banyan tree. It's a metaphor. So you can consider for each one of us, this material world is an inverted banyan tree. And for a self-realized person has cut the knot from this material world and uprooted that inverted banyan tree, a self-realized soul. But an ordinary person who is under the strong influence of the three modes, he is very strongly rooted in the material world. And the banyan tree for that person has grown very stronger. And for a pure devotee, the banyan tree does not exist. This is how we have to understand. The twigs are the object of the senses, and the jiva is traveling from one twig to another, trying different kinds of sense gratification. The tree is also has roots going down, and these are bound to fruitive actions of human society. So different portions of the tree correspond to different things. The roots are the fruitive actions. न रूपमस्येह ततोपलभ्यते नन्तो न चादिर् न च सम्प्रतिष्ठम् अश्वत्थमेनां सुविरुधमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयां Tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yata pravritti prashrita purani. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends. So this tree is very complex. You cannot completely understand all the complexity of this tree, where it begins or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly. So for a self-realized soul, this is cut down already. Strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. So you have to develop detachment, and by the weapon of detachment, you can cut down this tree. This detachment is called Vairagya. And how to develop Vairagya? Srimad Bhagavatam gives the answer. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitah Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Cha Yadahaitukam. So, by doing Bhagavad Bhakti to Vasudev, Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita, by performing devotional service unto Vasudev, Gyan and Vairagya will be generated. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, no one, one never returns, and their surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. So once this tree, banyan tree, is cut down completely, uprooted, and by the weapon of detachment, you have conquered this material world, where will you go? You will not come back to this material world. If you are too detached, if you are liberated, you are not going to come back to this world, then you will go back to the abode of the Supreme Lord. And one who goes back to the abode of the Supreme Lord never returns. Okay. So that is the spiritual abode or the spiritual world. Then Krishna says, Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya brinivitta kamam gandher bimukta shuka dukha samgir gacchanta muda padamavyayam tat. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress. As you can understand, these are the qualities of a self realized soul. And who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. So, this is the qualification to attain that eternal kingdom. By Bhakti Yoga, we have to develop all these qualities. And once we become self realized, we'll go back to the abode of the Supreme Lord. The next verse, Krishna says, Natad bhashayate suryo nashasanka na pavaka jadgatvana nivartante tadhama paramam mamam. That supreme abode of mine is not illuminated by sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So the abode of the Supreme Lord is illuminated by effulgence coming out of Krishna's body. There is no requirement of sun, moon, fire, electricity. In this material world, we need all these things because material nature is by default dark due to ignorance. But spiritual world is not dark. By default, spiritual world is illuminated by Brahma Jyoti. So these things are not required. There is a very important point we have to understand in this verse. Very, very interesting point. We'll end with that. Jadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramamama. One who goes back to the spiritual world does not come back to this material world again. Now, one may question that how we came back to this material world in the first place. It is told in the scriptures that we come from the spiritual world. From the spiritual world, ichha dvesha samuthvena danda mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sarge janti parantapa. Due to our desire to enjoy independently from Krishna and due to our envy, we came to this world. But isn't that violating this principle? Krishna says, Jat gatva na nivartante tadhama paramamama. One who goes back to the spiritual world never comes back. So initially I was there in the spiritual world. How I came to this world? It is not possible. So here we have to understand a subtle principle and the importance of this word gatva. So Krishna says, Jat gatva na nivartante. Actually, there are two kinds of soul in the spiritual world. One category of souls, they have the experience of material world. They have been to the material world before, and they know how what is the characteristics of this place? They perfectly understand the dukkhalayam ashashvatam nature of the material world. And after they go back, they never desire to come to this world again. But there are other category of souls who have never been to this material world. So they can have curiosity that what is there in the material world. So out of curiosity, some souls may come to this world. But one who goes back to spiritual world from material world, for those souls, there is no coming back. So that is highlighted by the word gatva. Jad gatvana nivartanti. If you go there, if you go to the spiritual world, then you do not come back. So if I am already there in the spiritual world and I have not been to material world ever, so then there is no question of going to the spiritual world. I am already in the spiritual world. So Krishna is not talking about those souls who are already in the spiritual world and never came to the material world. By this word Gatva, Krishna is meaning those souls who go back to the spiritual world from this material world, they do not come back. These are called experienced souls. They have the experience of the material world and therefore they do not try to explore it again. They know there is a separation from Krishna. If I go to the material world, I will forget Krishna. There is too much Maya, and then it will be very difficult for me to remember Krishna and come back. So this is how we can understand the first section of this chapter. We saw that how material world is considered to be inverted banyan tree, and what is the nature of the spiritual world, and what are the qualifications required to go to the spiritual world. Okay, so in the next class we'll continue with the next section. Thank you very much. If there is any questions, we can take. Okay, so we'll see you again next week. Thank you very much. Happy Damodar. Hope you were observing the Damodar Brata very nicely. All the best for that. And it's coming to an end. Bhishma Panchak is going to start last 5 days of Damodar. So all the best for that also. And we should try to heighten our devotional service. If we could not observe the Damodar month very nicely, this is the last opportunity. The last 5 days, if we do nicely, we also get the full benefit. The last 5 days, I think it's starting from November 12 to 16. From the Ekadashi, Dwadashi, Trayodashi, Chaturdashi, and then ends with Rash Purnima. Okay. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.